Hello class, in this video I'm going to review the Unit 1 project. We'll take a look at where to find it in D2L, we'll talk about the directions briefly, and then I'll provide an example so that ideally through watching this video you can get a good sense of what you need to do, and hopefully you find it really is hopefully not that much work. So for starters, the way to access the D2L module that contains the project, this is the course homepage, is if you select the content menu and you scroll down a little bit, one of the tabs should say Unit 1 project. So if you click that, there will be a link. This is where you would ultimately turn the project in. So you click this link and you can upload your work here. There's a written section just about the objectives of the project. And if you scroll down towards the bottom of that section, there is actually a link here that you can select, and this will give you a download of the written directions. Now, I'm going to be talking about these directions hopefully through this video. You can get what you need that way, but if you prefer a written direction section, it's here. Now the first thing you want to do to get this project completed is you want to select data set. Now you'll have two options. I'm going to use Juneau and Miami as my example here, so you can select between either Boston and Dallas or Wilmington and Honolulu for your project. Well, all three of these options are available in my course announcement with the project, so it should be easy to find. They are Excel spreadsheets, and if you just click on the link itself, it's likely to, it'll bring the data up right in a page here in D2L. This is not what we want. We actually want it to open as an Excel file. So when you select the link, you want to pull this drop-down menu down and select Download. Now when you do that, it should, assuming you have Excel installed on your computer, which ideally you do at this point, you would open that file, and now you've got your data set in an Excel sheet ready to go. So this project has us comparing two data sets. It's the temperature data for, in my example here, it looks like the first 2 weeks of November in two different U.S. states or cities. So we got Juneau, Alaska, and we got Miami, Florida. And we want to get some what's called summary statistics. Now, in Excel, if you want to create a label, you want to just name a cell. It's as simple as just clicking on the cell you want to label and then type. So, I want to create this label, Summary Statistics. So I'm just going to write the word Summary Statistics, and if you want to, you can also adjust the size of the cell by highlighting the top of the column and then getting between the cells here, clicking and dragging, and you can make that a little wider if you want, just so the cell will fit your label. Now, for each of these data sets, we need to get the mean. So I'm just going to write the word mean. We need the median. I'll write the word median. We need the mode. We also need the range and the standard deviation. So we have three measures of center, mean, median, and mode, and then we have two measures of variation, standard range and standard deviation. So all I did was just type the word that I want here in these cells. In order to perform the calculations, we actually need to execute some commands that we talked about last week. So, for example, next to the word mean, I've got this cell labeled mean, so immediately next to it, I want to calculate the mean. And when you want to perform a calculation in Excel, you need to lead with an equal sign. So I'm going to click the cell where I want to place my mean, that's in this case next to my label. I'm going to put an equal sign, and the command for mean, the arithmetic mean, the one we want, in Excel is going to be average. So you type equals, and then A, B, E, R, and then you can type the whole command, or once it comes up, we can click on it. We want average right here. And you want to double click it so that parenthesis comes up. If you want to type the whole thing manually, you can do that. You just want to make sure you open up a parenthesis, type the whole word average, and then have a parenthesis at the end. So type it fully, or you can click on it when it comes up. Now once that parenthesis is open, it's waiting for what's called an array, and the array is just the data set that you, in this case, we want to average. So I want to click the 39 and drag all the way down to the 43. That's in my example here, that's the whole data set. Now I only highlighted the temperatures. I didn't include the dates and the temperatures. I just want the temperatures. This project asks for a single variable display. So even though the dates are there, we only want these temperatures here. So if you click and drag, you notice it'll enter the array here in the input for the average command. Alternatively, if you prefer, instead of dragging, you could type. The top of my array is in cell B3, so I could do B3, and then you put a colon in, and the bottom of my array here is B17. That's another way to enter that information. I hit enter, and now it'll give me my mean, my average. So if I click to the cell below, next to it I have it labeled median. So here I want to enter the median. And then the command for median is equals MEDIAN. Again, open a parenthesis, or if you want, you can double click it when it comes up. And then again, I'm going to enter my array, same way as I did before. Enter. Next, I've got mode. So in the cell next to where I've labeled mode, I put an equal sign in, MOD. When it comes up, we actually want the command that says mode. So you can click it, or you can enter the whole thing. Open a parenthesis there. And now I would drag across my data to enter the array. Hit enter, calculate the mode. There's my mode. The range, this data set's small enough if you want to just find the max and the min and subtract them yourself, you could. However, we could get this command done easily enough in Excel. There is no range command directly, but we can do max minus the min, which is how you would find the range. So in the cell next to range, I've got equal sign. I'm going to put MAX for max. I'm going to click that command, and then I'm going to drag across my data. Now this time, instead of hitting enter, I'm going to close parentheses, because I want another command. I want to hit a subtraction sign, so I'll hit the dash. And now I want to type min for minimum. I can click that command when it comes up, and then I'm going to highlight the exact same data set. Drag right back over it, close parentheses, and now we've got the command that's going to execute the range, calculate the range. So we got the max minus the min. If we hit enter, there's my range. And then last up is the standard deviation. So again, in the cell next to where I have the label, standard deviation, I'm going to type equals, and the command for standard deviation is stdev.s. stdev.s. This is specifically for a sample standard deviation, which is what we want. So we'll click on that, and then drag across the data, hit enter, and there's my standard deviation. So now I have all 5 summary statistics that I want for this first data set here, which is Juneau, Alaska. Now we could do the whole thing again for the other city, and in fact we need to. And you could just type a new label, you could use the commands again, but another way we could if we choose, it's convenient, is in Excel we can actually copy this whole section here where we have the summary statistics, and if we place it right, we actually will have it calculate everything without having to enter new codes again. So the way I have this oriented, I've got summary statistics written next to the second number down in my data set, so next to the 36. That's where I have the summary statistics label. I'm going to make note of that, because now I'm going to highlight the cells that have my summary statistics, the whole box. And I'm going to right click it and copy it. And now if I go down the same column, I want to find again the cell that is next to the second number in my data set for Miami. So that's the second 90 here. And this is just simply because in my case where I put my summary statistics again, I'm next to that second number in Juneau. So next to the second number in Miami, I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste. And if you notice, all of these values are now set to calculate the summary statistics for the information for Miami. So now we've got the summary statistics for Juneau and Miami. The only other real Excel thing I need to do is I need to create the displays. Now you have options. I really would highly recommend that you use the box plot. We talked about different displays last week, and we said, well, the box plot is good for comparing 2 data sets, and that is exactly what we want to do here. We want to ultimately compare the temperature in Juneau with the temperature in Miami. The histogram is an option. However, the histogram is a little bit more work in Excel, and the data sets I don't think are large enough to really justify histogram. So I won't mark you wrong if you do a histogram, but I wouldn't recommend choosing histogram. The third option is the dot plot, and dot plots cannot be done directly in Excel. You can do a dot plot in Excel, but it's not the most direct thing. Amongst the three options, box plot is going to be the easiest and probably the best. So I truly recommend the box plot. So the way to enter the box plot is you want to highlight the data. So just the temperatures in my example here for June U. Once it's highlighted, I'm going to go to the top of my Excel page where it says Insert. And then I want to go over to this symbol here. If you hover over it, it should say Insert Statistical Charts. If you click on it, the box and whisker option is right here. This actually ends up being the histogram, but as it is, it needs a few adjustments. There's only 3 bars, and generally you want anywhere between like 5 to 8 bars. So if you choose the histogram, there would be some additional things. So I definitely recommend this box plot here. All right, so we click on that. We can move it around if we want, as long as you just find some blank white space in the graph. You should be able to move the whole graph around easily enough. We're going to make it a little bigger. And all we really got to do is give it a title. Maybe we'll label the axis as well. So this particular display was for June U, Alaska. And this is for November 2022. So I have the label for my graph. And the other thing I want to do is I want to label this axis here, this vertical axis. Box plots in Excel go vertical, which is fine. Instead of left or right like we had seen in class, this is just going from bottom to top. So if I select Add Chart Elements on an Apple computer, this is going to be in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. You can use this button on a PC as well, but on a PC there's also this shortcut with this little plus sign next to the graph itself. And if you click on that, one of the options should be Axis Titles. And I want to label my primary vertical. So if I click on that, I should get a little text box that will allow me to label my vertical axis. And in this case, my vertical axis represents degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not sure if I'm spelling Fahrenheit right, so I'm just going to put a capital F in there to represent Fahrenheit. And that's it. That's simple. There's my display for June U. Now we'd want to do it for the other city as well, so I could, again, highlight the data for Miami. I could select Insert, grab that Statistical Charts button again, select Box Plot. Maybe we'll make this a little bigger like the other one. Give this one a title. This one's going to be Miami, Florida. Chart Elements here is if you lose the title for whatever reason, notice I lost the option of title list. I could always go back to that with the chart elements. So again, either upper left hand menu here or the plus sign. We can go chart title, just check it on, check it off. Axis title, we'll hit the little over arrow to label the primary vertical again. And here I'll just label my graph with the title Miami, Florida, November 2022, and then we'll just do the same thing with the vertical axis. Again, this was degrees Fahrenheit. So now I've got summary statistics for both cities. I've got the displays, box plots in this case, and they're labeled. This is everything you need for Excel. So the only thing that's left to do for the project is the written section. Now you could save your Excel document as it is here, and you can upload this along with the written section, or if you want, you can also include a text box right in the Excel page. And the way to do that is to select Insert in the Excel page, and then if you go over towards the right here, one of the options should say Text Box. If I click on that, I can click and drag and enter a text box, and you can make the dimensions bigger or smaller, however you'd like. And I can do my written section right here. And I'm going to post a separate section with directions on how to tackle the written section. It'll be relatively brief. There's not a whole lot to say. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, please send me an email. Thanks for watching.